Wayfinders webinar. Oh, here we go. Great, okay. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining this OASPA Wayfinders webinar. We're going to let the numbers build a little bit, so just give us a few moments and then we'll get started. As you join, please drop into the chat where you are joining us from. We'd love to hear from you. Fantastic. Hello, if you just joined us. We are waiting for the numbers to build and then we'll get started. Excellent. I think we will make a start, Malavika. Hello and welcome to this OASPA Wayfinders webinar. Wayfinders number 6, Diamond OA Communities of Practice in Action. Now, please let us know in the chat where you are joining us from. We will be using chat for conversations, for sharing of resources and links, and you will also see the speaker bios appear in the chat as the speakers join us on screen. If you've got any questions, please use the Q&A, and we will then use the Q&A section when we get to the Q&A part of this webinar. When you join an OASPA webinar, you opt into our participation standards, and Bernie is going to put those in the chat box for us. And lastly, I think I've covered everything off, Malavika, apart from recordings. So recordings, slides and resources will be available in a few days after the webinar has ended. And if you have any questions at all, please put them in the Q&A as a reminder. Please use chat for conversations. I will now hand over to Malavika from OASPA. We'll get this webinar started. Thanks, Malavika.
Thanks, Ruby, and welcome, such a warm welcome to all of you joining us here today. When people ask OASPA for support or for information, one thing we're hearing so much these days is, how do we make Diamond open access work, right? This comes up repeatedly, and we're speaking to people right across the global open access network. And we recently even ran a survey of just OASPA members, and we know that many OASPA members as well are interested in exploring Diamond open access. Many OASPA members are doing Diamond open access. And so we know that people want practical inputs and inspiration around Diamond. And so we thought, what better way to do it than through a Wayfinders, because the Wayfinder series is all about practical conversations about inclusive open access, right? So we're focusing this 6th Wayfinders conversation on communities of practice, those communities around the world actually doing Diamond open access. And I'm delighted with the fact that we are joined by panelists from right across the globe. We'll hear from Jane Bugle, who will tell us about how Diamond OA is working within the IOAP in Ireland. We will then hear from Femi Arogundade, who moderates the no-fee open access publishing in Africa community. And then finally, we will also hear from Tracy joining us at the end of her day from Brisbane in Australia, telling us about the Australasian Diamond community of practice. I'm going to let our panelists talk through. They have slides prepared. So please, if you could post your questions in the Q&A area, as Ruby said, and then we'll have Q&A at the end. I promise we will reserve time for Q&A because we really want for you to be able to get your questions answered. We'll have our panelists speak first, and then we'll have Q&A at the end. But do post your questions throughout as they occur to you, and do share resources and links in chat. Jane, I am ready to welcome you now. The floor is yours. Do you want to take it away?
Thank you. I'll just share my slides now. Here we are. So I'm delighted to be here this morning, here in Ireland, to talk about the role and impact of the Irish Open Access Publishers Community of Practice in advancing Diamond Open Access Publishing in Ireland. So the IOAP came together to unite disparate stakeholders with an interest in Diamond Open Access. So from faculty, students, librarians, researchers, funders, policymakers, we wanted to bring them all together. And our vision for the IOAP is of a connected Diamond Open Access publishing landscape in which a broad range of scholarly publishers support the advancement of open, inclusive and sustainable publishing approaches in line with national and international standards for the benefit of all. And when we're talking about Diamond Open Access, the IOAP means free to publish, free to read, and community or institution owned. So it is, it's not for profit. So I wanted to point out that you can click on the link for the IOAP team, but I wanted to point out that we have some very heavy hitters on our advisory board, and this was important for us to have, you know, experts in the area guide us in our progress and in our development. You can see here we have Jan Erik Fransvov, and he was leading up the DIMAS survey, DIMAS project in Europe. We have Kevin Stranick from the Public Knowledge Project, Bernie Folan here from OASPA, and at the end there we have Ariana Becerril Garcia from Redalic and Amelica in Latin America. So one of the key elements of importance in a community of practice is to share knowledge and best practice. And the IOAP has held quite a few events at this stage to share knowledge, to share best practice, and we've called on experts in the field to provide guidance here as well. Here's Brecht Seinen, who is from Science Europe, Neil Stern from the Directory of Open Access Books, OAPN, and who is involved in the Palomera project. And we also have run different types of events. So here's the DOAJ Sprint, where Judith Barnsby, who at that point was head of editorial at the Directory of Open Access Journals, guided us through the DOAJ application in real time, pointing out some of the common pitfalls to application failure. Another really important element for a community of practice is to celebrate, to showcase best practice and exemplars. And to that end, the IOAP set up awards. And we had our first awards in 2024 in 4 categories: the best peer-reviewed Diamond Open Access Journal, the best open monograph, the best open educational resource, and also outstanding contribution to Diamond Open Access publishing in Ireland. We had lots of contenders, very excellent contenders, and some worthy winners. We also held our first conference. It was actually a half-day event online, and again we had some great speakers. This is Dr. Patrick Paul Walsh, Director of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Academy, and they're doing really great things for open educational resources. And a little bit about the national context. So the Irish government has stated that by 2030, Ireland will have implemented a sustainable and inclusive course for achieving 100% open access to research publications. So now in 2025, we're in and around 60%, but that is very much leveraging on transformative agreements, which the IOAP wouldn't consider as being particularly transformative, especially for Diamond Open Access. In 2017, the Irish government established the National Open Research Forum, or NORF, to drive the Irish agenda for open access. And it's aligned with the EU Open Science Policy and EU Council conclusions on the implementation of open science. So NORF put out a call for funded projects that would help us along the way to realising the objective of 100% open access by 2030. And the IOAP, so this is a great opportunity, and we partnered on a number of projects. The first one was Publish OA, which looked at the feasibility of a national Diamond Open Access publishing platform. The next is Health Libraries Ireland. We're looking at establishing a Diamond Open Access journal in Irish health and social care. SCORE is a really important project. This is looking at secondary rights, copyright, open access, institutional policies and rights retention. And at the moment, the SCORE project has a piece of legislation ready to go before the Irish Parliament around secondary rights and copyright. And it also has a model open access institutional policy for implementation in every university and higher education institute in Ireland. And finally, a project that aimed to cultivate an open research culture in the humanities and social sciences. So just a few of the Publish OA outputs. We carried out a landscape survey with a special focus on the readiness of Irish scholarly publishers to transition to open access. We carried out a Diamond Open Access platform pilot, and we published a feasibility report on this. And we carried out a comparison of open access publishing platform software. And through this, we opted for PKP's Open Journal Systems and Open Monograph Press for our publishing platform. Earlier this year, in March, North put out a further call for projects that would help to ensure the long-term impact and resilience in Ireland's open research ecosystem. And this call was only open to previously funded projects. So again, the IOAP partnered on a project that this time we call Diamond Ireland. It's a one-year project, started in September this year and will end in August next year. And we've received €100,000 in funding. Diamond Ireland builds on the outputs and outcomes of the Publish OA project, and it has a specific focus on network building and sustainability for Diamond OA publishing in Ireland. And it's focused around the pilot Diamond Open Access publishing platform, which will launch in the next few weeks, and we're calling that Diamond Ireland Press. We're going to create a centralized Diamond Ireland hub of shared resources, very much along the lines of what they've done in Canada, in the US with the Library Publishing Coalition, and also more recently in the Netherlands. But there's also going to be a discovery element to the Diamond Ireland project, because we will be providing links to all of the Diamond OA journals and monographs published in Ireland, whether or not they choose to publish on Diamond Ireland Press. Early next year, we'll offer microgrants for open monograph publishing. There'll be an open call for them. And a key output of this project will be the Diamond Ireland Bibliodiversity Principles. And bibliodiversity is very key to this project. One of the things that we noticed when we were carrying out the survey was that Irish language materials, where they just weren't being funded and the publishers were really having a difficult time. And we feel that those materials could work well with Diamond Ireland Press. I don't have much time, but this is I think it's a great infographic that my colleague Niamh Brennan put together, and it's about the Diamond Ireland vision for diamond engagement, bringing everybody together in a partnership. So the IOAP as a community of practice continues to scan the horizon for new knowledge sharing opportunities and collaborations. Just last week, I was delighted to attend the Almaty Diamond Forum, at which Dr. Michelle Doran spoke about the Diamond Ireland project. She's from North. We look to Science Europe for the Global Diamond Summits. We meet regularly with other open access institutions and communities of practice. So for example, OAIPA, which is the Open Institutional Publishing Association in the UK, Netherlands University Presses, and OAPN. We meet 4 to 6 times a year, and we share information and best practice. We look obviously to the European projects and to their great outputs. So Craft OA, Diamas, and to Palomera. And we look to the tool suite and to the Diamond Open Access Standard. And we will be contributing and connecting very much with the European Diamond Capacity Hub. So there's a few references there at the end. Thank you all for your attention. Please do get in touch if you'd like to work with the IOAP. And I'm going to hand you over now to Femi. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Jane. Femi, if you could switch on your camera and mic, please. And share your slides on the screen. That would be great, Femi, when you can join. Thank you. We're hoping Femi's still there.
We are indeed hoping. Oh, there we are.
Go.
Welcome, Femi.
Femi, I think we've lost you again. If you could rejoin.
Thank
Perfect.
you, everyone, for joining us today. And I am delighted to be here to share more about our work on diamond open access publishing in Africa. And before I proceed, I hope you can all hear me clearly and I'm audible enough. That's great. So today I will share how diamond open access is developing across Africa, what we've learned from the collaboration of Sustainable Open Access Publishing in Africa project, which implemented by EIFL, AJOL, and WACREN, and how the project led to the launch of the no-fee open access publishing in Africa, the community of practice that we actually run, and other initiatives to drive in the sustainability of diamond open access on the continent. And before I share more about the no-fee open access publishing and practice, community of practice, and how it's evolved, let's look at what Diamond OA means for African researchers and professionals. So,
Not sure if
Yeah, Femi's paused on
For
your
us-
screen. I think. Yeah, you're back. Yeah, thank you.
internet connectivity is a thing you'll sort of take for granted. Femi, can you hear me okay?
researchers.
Femi, you're in and out, so we're not hearing you very clearly.
Malavika, what I suggest, if Femi can hear
Professionals,
me.
the publishing system, the
Femi,
way we view it, we see it as a system and well-funded institutions who can access and disseminate scholarly knowledge. Are you trying to say something?
Oh dear, I think that Femi may have dropped off.
yeah, I think we've lost him again, Malavika. If Femi joins us again, I think it's best if he joins without video. So
Yeah.
we'll advise that if you could ask him to do that when he joins back in.
Yes, we'll do that.
Okay.
In the meanwhile, I wonder if we don't have Femi here. Tracy, if you wouldn't... Oh, we do have Femi re-arriving, I think, because I see him. Well, this is it. We take internet connectivity for granted, right? And when it works, and it's just there, like the air we breathe almost, but it's not the case in all places and in all situations. So I'm just waiting to see if Femi is coming back. Yep, Femi, I see your slides.
All right, I might just have to switch off the video.
Good idea, thank you.
So I said earlier, publishing and for Africa, yeah, and for Africans, it's not really affordable for us to get our work published open access. So, and the rise of digital publishing, which we thought, many thought we might have expanded access, instead largely sought to increase profit margins and reinforce commercial control over scholarly.
Malavika, I think Femi's signal is getting worse, and it's quite difficult to catch up. I think there's a big delay as well. So should we move to Tracy? Femi, if you can hear me, I think we'll just pause for now. And apologies to you as well, Femi, but also to everyone listening.
Which has continued to drive. So
Femi,
regarding shifts the focus to equity and ownership, and professionals are not priced out of option.
Yeah, I think I'll need to mute Femi, and we'll carry on with Tracy. Thanks, Malavika.
Thank you.
Thanks, Malavika. I'm just going to share my screen. Just let me know. You can see that.
Yep, it's coming up.
How's that?
Yes,
Good.
and yes, perfect. Thanks, Tracy.
Right.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for having me today. It's really great to be alongside Jane and Femi. It's unfortunate about Femi. I was very much looking forward to his presentation. I'm a co-convener of a very new and young Diamond Journal publishing community of practice. So I'm here to talk about what we've done with this community to date. But I thought it might be interesting just to give a little bit of context about open access in Australia. We have put together a really interesting timeline, and lucky for you, I'm not going to go through it in any detail, but this was put together a number of years ago by our Council for Australian University Librarians, or we call them CAUL, and Open Access Australasia, which is our open access advocacy group here in Australia. And it sort of mapped the trajectory of open access throughout Australia. And it really begins with Australian universities. So librarians leading from the front and sort of establishing our first institutional repositories, so green open access. An Australian National University was the first to do that back in 2000. My own university, Queensland University of Technology, followed quickly after that. And we were actually the first university in the world to have an institutional-wide open access mandate, so a policy, which meant that all our staff and students, whatever they published, had to be open access. So then we sort of move through to the mid-2000s and we see our national research bodies, these are our funders for the research that we do in our universities, developing their own open access policies and mandates to make anything that they were funding open access, but within an embargo time. And we sort of move through to a period of, I guess, a collective understanding of what open access was and the implications. We see, and then sort of around 2021, our first transformative agreement, so our first read and publish agreement that was negotiated between CAUL and SARO, which is our sort of our national science research body. Around 2021, we had a new chief scientist, Kathy Foley, who joined, and she sort of had a 4-pillar approach to research, and one of those pillars was around developing some guidelines and some national practice around open access, and she delivered those recommendations back in 2024. So that's where we are now. And what else I think is relevant to understanding the context of open access in Australia and New Zealand is a report. So we hadn't had anything like this before. No one had really surveyed the landscape in open access. So this was put together by Open Access Australia. So Ginny Barber and Janet Catterall put this together. And they just wanted to get a sense of the open access initiatives that were happening across both countries. So they looked at policies, guidelines, repositories, and obviously open publishing. And you can see there that there's a sense that while we've started strong in the early 2000s, it hasn't really got up to the level of participation in open access that we are seeing globally. And you could also see that there's always been some support for external OA initiatives, but again, we sort of fall under the global average in terms of engagement with organisations doing fantastic, work in open access. The interesting thing here, and this is what I'll talk to more, is that 31 of the 56 universities, so don't forget they're looking at Australia and New Zealand, so a total of 56 universities are actually publishing open journals. So more than half of our institutions are actively engaged in open publishing, but again, a piecemeal approach, if you like, surviving but not thriving. So how did we get to this point? So back in 2023, we actually had, during Open Access Week, a panel discussion on diamond journals, and we had a satellite sort of situation where we joined with the Diamond Open Access Conference. So this was the first Diamond sort of event internationally that was held in Mexico. We were really lucky. We had Johan Roerich from Coalition S at the time, and Ariana, who Jane mentioned as well, on that panel. And they talked to us about the global initiatives around Diamond Open Access. And obviously that was when Diamis kicked off. And sorry if my pronunciation of that's not good. So I think what came out of that was a realization amongst our community that there was a lot of us working in the space, in libraries, supporting Diamond journals, and that there was a real need to come together as a community. So last April, we launched the Diamond Journal Publishing subgroup. So subgroup, as we have a larger community of practice here in Australia, the Australian Scholarly Communications of Practice community. So this became a subgroup. We're very small. So at November this year, we had just tipped over 61 members. Our members represent 27 Australian universities, 5 New Zealand universities, and we have a small number of members that come from external organisations as well. We are supported by CALL, Open Access Australasia, and Creative Commons Australia. They do a lot of the manual tasks for us in terms of setting up our meetings. We meet every 2 months for 1 hour online. It's very informal in the sense that we don't record, that it's really just for our community to share information about what we're doing. And I'd really like to give a shout out, I guess, to my co-conveners for the last 2 years. So Zach, Caitlin and Lauren. They're brilliant to work with. And I think for me, working with Diamond Journals for so long, being able to have a community with active leadership in this area, it's been a real privilege to actually work in this COP. So, and this is very busy, apologies. In our very first meeting when we got together, we had an electronic whiteboard and we did some post-it notes, and we asked our members, what are the burning issues around Diamond Journal publishing for you, and what questions do you want answered, and what issues do you want explored in this community? Because it's all about the community, right? And you can see just from that slide that there was a lot. There was a lot around the high level issues around how do we sustain our Diamond journals, how do we fund these journals, right down to the minutiae. So, you know, editorial issues like how do we find peer reviewers? What does rights retention mean for in the context of our journals? All those different issues. And so because we're all librarians, we sort of condensed all these comments into themes. And these are the themes that have been key. So each time we meet, we sort of address one of these, we attempt to address one of these themes. You can see there that the big things coming out are funding and sustainability. I think some sustainability sort of underlines all the work we do in this space. So far what we've done, we've tried to do a few things. Our meetings are, I sort of said they're informal. What we do is we talk generally about what's happening globally. So we're very interested in understanding what's happening internationally and regionally as well. And we usually do a lightning talk. So we asked our community members to sort of talk a little bit about what their practice around Diamond journals. So I guess sharing information. One of the things we've started to do is we've put together a list. We don't have this in Australia and New Zealand. We don't have any idea of what our where and what our Diamond journals are. So we've put together a very rudimental Excel spreadsheet that we're collaboratively working on to get all this information into. So far, we've got around 95 titles. So that's from 7 Australian unis and 6 New Zealand university collections. And if you remember what I said at the beginning, if we know that 31 institutions, we know that there's a lot more that we can get in there. So that's a work in progress for us. Most of our members are using open source publishing, prominently OJS. Some of them are now on the hosted version. Some of our members use Scholastica. There's still a lot of custom websites and university web pages that are being used to publish Diamond, and there was a couple using DSpace as well. Another thing that we do is we look outward. I guess this community, when I started publishing with open access journals, Diamond Open Access, there was no resources out there at all. And now we sort of were very lucky. Our community members look to the Open Access Journals Toolkit, which has some fantastic resources. Diamis has produced, obviously that was a 3-year European project, but the outcome of that was some very robust resources and guidelines for Diamond. Obviously DOAJ, because they have their criteria, which aligns with best practice and open access. So we look to what they're, doing in that space as well. And Jane's own the Irish Open Access Publishing, they've got some great resources on their webpage. And the Netherlands are doing some wonderful things around Diamond Open Access. So we've done our own scan, and we're trying to sort of look at the resources that have been created and share them in our community. So our last meeting, we just used a collaborative Google Doc, and we sort of got everybody to put in information. So copyright information, information about preservation, information about archiving. We're even sort of trying to collect some literature around, so we can use in terms of advocacy around Diamond Open Access. In our very first year, we were very lucky. We had the OE Global Conference come to Australia. So we presented at that conference about the community and what we were doing. We had a panel during Open Access Week where we just focused on Diamond. And we were very lucky to also contribute to a blog post from DOAJ, just to give them a sense of what we were doing as a community. Again, very small community. This year, Tefera had a blog post in DOAJ. These other folk from Auckland University of Technology in the library, they support a range of open access initiatives. They've got a repository, they do open books, they've got over 20 Diamond titles. Not all directly aligned to the university. They're actually hosting journals that come from learned societies or journals that are external to the university. And I think they really represent what good practice in Diamond journal publishing is. It's about including the community. It's about inclusivity as well. So like Jane, what are the things that we are interested in as a community down in Australia and New Zealand? We're very interested to understand the outcome of the UNESCO survey and what that means around defining Diamond, and whether there's something that we can latch onto, I guess, because our approach is bottom up, not top down. So we're a community. We don't have a leadership capacity in terms of we are just a community working together. We're very interested to understand our Massey and the outcomes of this project. It's fantastic that Diamis focused on Europe, and now we're extending that to Latin America and Africa. And as you know, Latin America and Indonesia, for example, they're countries that they're exploding with Diamond journals. So hopefully the next iteration maybe of a Massey will include Asia and Australasia as well. And we're also very interested to see the outcomes of the Open Journals Collective. I think as librarians tackling transformative agreements, we're interested to know what other people are doing as a collective to better articulate the role of Diamond Open Journals. We were lucky, we had Caroline Edwards present a couple of weeks ago on our Open Access webinar, and she's going to come back and talk to our community next year. I pulled together some reading. There is a lot out there about open access in Australia and Aotearoa New Zealand, but this would be my pick. I'd highly recommend the very latest publication there. That's the new one from Ginny Barber and Janet and Kim Tari from Aotearoa New Zealand, and they've done a really nice, concise overview of the landscape across Australia and New Zealand. So I would encourage people to read that if they're interested. Again, thank you for having me, and very grateful for the organisation of this event. And also, I'm happy to answer any queries that anyone might have about what we're doing in Australasia. Thanks, Malavika.
Thank you so much, Tracy. That was great. And there are some questions. So there are questions coming in, which is great. But I just would like to check if, Femi, if you can hear us okay, and if we want to have a chance to try the presentation. If not, our backup plan will be to record it separately with you and share it with everyone. But let's have one try, Femi, and see how it goes.
All right, that's fine. So I'll share my screen again for you to.
Thank you. And just while Femi's slides are coming up, to let you know, if you're listening and you have a question, in case we run out of time, we will go to our panelists with the questions after the fact, and we will publish those, their answers with the resources shared after. So don't hold back on your questions. Femi, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. And sorry for the glitch in my connection earlier. So I hope you can all hear me fine. And as I shared earlier, I'll be talking about the Diamond Open Access, how it's the developments in Africa, how it's what we've learned from our initiatives and from the collaboration for sustainable open access publishing in Africa projects implemented by WACREN, EIFL, and AJOL, and how the projects led to the launch of the no-fee open access publishing in Africa community of practice and other initiatives driving the sustainability of the urban open access on the continent. So before I share more or I'll tell you more about the community of practice, I would like to share with you how we view Diamond Open Access in Africa and how it fills the gap for African researchers. So as we all know, the publishing system has long been dominated by commercial publishers, and most of African researchers, they find it difficult to actually get to publish their work open access in open access journals that relates to their field of study and the likes. But when you look at research dissemination generally, for Africans, the support is a little bit low, and even when it comes to paywalls and when you look at how paywalls restrict readership and how article processing charges exclude many African researchers from making their work open access, and how the dominance of English as the primary language of scholarly dissemination limits how Africans put their research out there. We see Diamond Open Access as an avenue for African researchers to actually put their work out there in ways they would like to, even if they will not publish in English, or even if they have no means to pay to make their work open access. And Diamond Open Access, in that sense, shifts the focus to equity and ownership. And the focus for us now in Africa is ensuring that African researchers and readers are not priced out of knowledge dissemination and access. And through the collaboration for sustainable open access publishing in Africa, which is the current project in collaboration between EIFL, AJOL, and WACREN, we are working to make the Diamond Open Access model sustainable across the continent. Also, just to share a bit more about the background, I would like to kind of share our findings on the landscape study conducted on the existing Diamond Open Access journals in Africa. So regarding the collaboration for sustainable open access publishing in Africa project that I mentioned earlier, one of the project's first activities was a comprehensive landscape study, which mapped the state of the no-fee open access publishing in Africa. And the study provides an overview of the open access journals in Africa that do not charge fees for either authors or readers. And the study is actually based on the responses from 199 journals, 29 platforms, and 25 country reports with information about funding and financial sustainability approaches and challenges. So findings from the study actually show that most of the journals are relatively small in terms of the output, in terms of their output. when you look at the number of articles they publish, they are really small. It ranges between 11 to 20, and that was the findings in 2023. And most of the journals actually they rely on volunteer workers. So more than half, even those that most that have the support regarding those that run those journals, the publishing platforms and their journals, they still have to rely on volunteers to support them. So, and in terms of visibility and discoverability, more than half of those journals, they even though they are indexed, they still struggle with discoverability because they are not indexed in major discovery platforms. So, and another challenge we got from the study the study revealed was that most of these journals do not have annual approved projects to run the journals, and financial constraints are by far the most pressing challenge affecting a majority of the journals, which many of them struggle to kind of address. And when it comes to infrastructure, there are several challenges on that. And when it comes to administrative support, there are also challenges regarding that. So the findings from the study revealed the realities facing diamond open access in Africa, which shows that there are challenges that can affect their quality and sustainability. And while the commitment to diamond OA is strong, the capacity to sustain it remains uneven. So, and when you, with all the challenges that was revealed through the study, it takes us to the community of practice, the no-fee OA community of practice in Africa was launched, as a direct response to the challenges and the needs identified in the landscape study, such as the need for training, the need for editorial and platform support, that means infrastructure support and policy guidance. And the country reports that also formed part of the landscape study, such as the Namibia reports, which formed part of the study, revealed that despite the recognition of the importance of collaboration and capacity development to strengthen diamond OA in Africa, the plans for country-level community of practice did not really materialize, largely due to lack of funding. And so the idea then was simple. If many diamond OA journals are working in isolation, diamond open access journals in Africa, if they are working in, if they need support, if they need support in terms of training, if they need support in terms of infrastructure, if they are actually facing, if their challenges are similar, the idea was, why not bring them together to learn, to collaborate and exchange knowledge and find collective solutions. And that's led to the launch of the no-fee open access publishing in Africa Community of Practice in 2024. So, so from the study, as I said, the findings revealed the challenges which led to the establishment of the no-fee open access publishing in Africa Community of Practice. And since then, we've been building capacity and strengthening collaboration among editors and publishers of no-fee open access journals and books across Africa. So the COPE is open to all editors and publishers affiliated with African organizations that publish no-fee open access journals or books. And it is moderated by WACREN in collaboration with EIFL and AJOL. So we currently have a growing community of over 380 members, which includes editors and publishers of no-fee OA journals and books across Africa. And we hold monthly meetings. We hold monthly meetings, and it's been very, very impressive. And also, for the no-fee OA community of practice, actually, we have our key focus areas, and currently the focus of our community of practice is on capacity building, helping editors strengthen their editorial workflow, their editorial capacity, and also, most importantly, their journal operations. And also in terms of collaboration, we look for ways to for editors to kind of we provide a platform for editors to exchange their knowledge, exchange what their challenges and how they resolved that particular challenge. And the platform also provides the avenue for the editors and the publishers of no-fee OA books and journals to be able to exchange resources based on the members' needs and requests, and also on editorial standards and indexing, which we consider very important. We've had sessions on that where we where we explained how the criteria of several discovery platforms and how they can meet those indexing requirements for them to get indexed in those journals. And regarding when it comes to diamond open access in Africa, the adoption, as we know, is very low, but with the community of practice, we've been able to kind of work together with the editors in ways, with the publishers of the journals in ways to develop ways they can actually communicate and show the impact of their journals to their various institutions to kind of garner support so that they can actually support them in that regard and drive their operations. And it will, when there is support from the institution, there will be kind of the sustainability aspect of it will be covered, maybe probably not fully, but at least when institutions are involved and they know the impact of open access journals, diamond open access journals, they will be able to support. And also with the community of practice, we explore funding opportunities the funding opportunities where we share the latest opportunities with the community members so that they know how they can get support, how they can get funds to support their journals and much more. And also on infrastructure, non-infrastructure support. So infrastructural support. So looking at the outputs of the community of practice, actually, for now, in 2025, this year we've covered several topics and addressed issues in direct response to the needs of our community members. So we've had training and guidance sessions on journal indexing, licensing and copyright issues, journal operations, strengthening African scholarly journals through DOAJ, and exploring how exploring the use of AI to support journal editors in peer review. And each session includes sharing valuable resources to further strengthen members' understanding of the topics covered. Also, as part of our activities this year, we've also held community discussions on because everything we do as a community revolves around the requests and the needs of the community members. So we've had training sessions to look at the courses, training courses for editors and reviewers, the use of AI tools in journal editing and their limitations, the ways to recognize editors and peer reviewers, ways to assess peer review quality, and use of persistent identifiers and ways sustainability models for diamond open access publishing. So most of the topics we cover revolves around what the community members would like to get solutions on. So, and also in October, we released a new guidance resource titled Equality in Diamond Open Access Publishing with guidelines, policies, and templates. So it was developed to help Diamond OA journals publishers enhance the quality of their journal, because the guidance documents actually align with the recognized best practices in scholarly publishing. So because it's built on the frameworks such as the basic criteria for the watch indexing and the basic practical checklist for Diamond OA publishers. So with that kind of resource, so we encourage most of our members to kind of refine their journal operations and look into the resource to see how they can actually improve upon their policies and several operations several areas when it comes to their journal operations. So, and as we know—
Sorry, Femi, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just to say, if I was hoping we could save 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. So if you want to just bear that in mind as you go through, if you could wrap up in a couple of minutes, that would be great. Sure. And we can also take some questions.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm always done with my—
Thank you. Thank you.
So, that's basically what we cover with the community of practice. So the essence of the community of practice is to kind of give the journal editors, those that are actually involved in the publishing process, the opportunity to bring their issues, to bring their challenges, and look for ways to solve them collectively without them working, alone and thinking of how to solve it. Especially when you have a new journal, when you are running a new journal, it might be difficult for you to kind of get support that you need at the right time. So with the community of practice, it gives them that kind of opportunity to bring their challenges, and we look for collective ways to address these challenges. And on strengthening diamond open access in Africa. So as part of the community of practice, we know that whatever we do with, as much as we would like to see the increase in the adoption of diamond open access in Africa, sustainability should not plays a bigger part in that process. So, and as part of the collaboration for sustainable open access publishing in Africa project, we launched 2 grant courses in 2024 and 2025 to strengthen the quality and sustainability of no-fee diamond open access publishing across Africa. So through the COPE, members also receive first-hand information on grant costs, guidance on how to apply and other opportunities around sustainability. So the first call in 2024 awarded grants to 17 projects across 9 African countries, and each project was designed to address specific operational gaps while contributing to a shared vision of sustainability for diamond open access journals. So I will just rush this because of our time, and so these are the 17 projects funded across 9 African countries, and those countries include Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, and the rest you can see here. And regarding diamond, when it comes to community of practice, generally, just to close, when it comes to community of practice, we've identified several challenges, we've identified several issues, but we think limited resources and guidance can even make it more challenging for diamond OA publishers in Africa to strengthen their journal quality and operations. So therefore, we believe African editors and publishers of no-fee OA journals, they don't have to kind of work alone when it comes to addressing their challenges. And that's the essence of the no-fee OA community of practice, for them to collaborate and learn from the community, share challenges, and receive guidance from the community and gain access to valuable resources. And if there is a need to develop new resources with the community of practice, we are also up to that, and that's and that's one of the you can see that in the resource I shared earlier. So that's one of the key reasons, one of the key impacts of the community of practice. So I'll just stop here so that we can take questions.
Thank you, Femi. Thanks so much, and I'm glad we were able to go through your presentation. I will move swiftly on to Q&A because we do have questions. We won't cover them all right here live, but we will cover them all with the thanks to panelists post hoc, so you will get your answers for sure. But one thing, just picking up from the questions we've had so far, there's a question about how do we convince academics, the scholars themselves, of the value of publishing, of choosing these venues for their outputs. There's also a question about how do we convince governments of the need for 100% OA. So panelists, if I could ask each of you to just give me your reactions to those two. How do we convince scholars and how do we convince governments? Jane, did you want to come in first?
Yes, I'll start with the government, and the reason that the mandate is there from Ireland and that we're aiming for 100% open access by 2030 is because of European mandates, is because of mandates that are coming from the funders that we have to align with. So that's the simple thing, I guess. It's, aligning with funders' mandates. And the second point is, I think we need to advertise and demonstrate to academics the reach of Diamond Open Access Publishing. We have held an Open Monographs event, because Open Monographs, there's not so many in Ireland, so it's really important for us to get the message out that the quality is very, very high, and that the reach is huge. So like where a physical book can be read by a certain amount of people, and an online academic book is going to reach, the impact is going to be much greater, and we need to get that message out. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Tracy or Femi, who would like to go next?
I'm happy to go. Sorry, Femi.
Oh, please,
I
please.
guess we need, in Australia, we don't have a national policy at all. We know that half of our academic institutions do have an open access policy, but there's no national policy around open access. We don't have that. I think we have to sort of, like I said, our communities are bottom up. We need top-down approaches in Australasia to open access. So without that, we've got these great pockets of best practice in diamond publishing, doing a wonderful job, inclusive, fee-free, but there's no mandate around it. So, but in saying that, our research funders are coming on board, their policies are improving, and I think that will help the momentum around open access. And in terms of our scholars, we do, as librarians, we do a lot of myth busting around open access, and we do a lot of education around what it means. And right from the start with our HDR, our high degree research students, we're working with them to help them understand the value of open access. So it's a continual work that we do. That would be my feedback.
Yes, Femi, please.
All right, thank you very much. For scholars generally, I would say the perception that diamond open access journals are low quality, they should look deeply into that and see, if they look into that, they will see that that's not the case. When it comes to diamond open access, they actually get peer reviewed by experts in the field. So they should look beyond journal prestige and the impact factors when it comes to research, and I believe that is why you're actually a researcher. So whatever the avenue should not, the avenue actually does not equate to quality. So there are misconception regarding the quality of diamond OA journals. They should look and see. If they look very well, they will see that that's not the case when it comes to diamond open access. They are very good diamond open access journals that are very good quality out there. And when it comes to the government and the institutions, I think for Africa, we see there are so many policies. This policy, several institutions, they have their policies around open access. But I think the implementation and getting researchers to see the essence of open access will go a long way. So we need increased advocacy regarding open access in Africa.
Thank you. And we have just a couple of minutes, and what I would like to do is to pick up on Tracy, you'd mentioned this issue of, surviving, not thriving. Femi, you talked about financial constraints being a big issue. There's a more detailed question about specific references, and we'll come to that post this event in writing. But panelists, can you, to start off, how are the journals sustained? Just back to basics. What is the funding mechanism? Is it the institution that's paying? Is it, are there other sources as well? How is the funding found to run the journals in your communities of practice?
From our perspective, our institutions are funding it, our libraries are funding it, and for some of us working in libraries, it's an add-on to the work that we're already doing. So it's coming from our institutions, and our institutions are also paying read and publish agreements for our researchers to get published in open access journals. So there's a lot of weight that's carried by our libraries, and that's why it's important to have our communities to increase awareness and raise and keep the momentum around the value of these activities.
Thanks, Tracy. Jane, is it the same for the IOAP? Is it always institutions?
Yes, it is. So to date, it is completely institutions and scholarly associations paying for themselves.
Right. Yeah. Sure. And Femi, the case in Africa?
Yes, most of the diamond open access journals, they are scholarly led. They are owned by institutions in Africa, and we realized regarding sustainability, when it comes to them actually putting out what we expect for them when it comes to dissemination of what they publish. They are not really. When it comes to that regarding sustainability generally, we are trying to look for ways to kind of support them. And with the phone call that with information about this phone call I shared earlier, you will see that quite some good journals were selected in the grant call, and they received substantial funding that will allow them to run their journal. So we are actually looking for ways to support them and to make sure those journals are actually sustainable and the operations go on.
Thank you. Well, it is the top of the hour. Colleagues, thank you so much. I have a great quote from Coretta Scott King, the author, who says the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate action of its members. So Jane, Tracy, and Femi, thank you for the work you're doing and the work of your communities. We will share this recording and we will share more Q&A in writing with the recording. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Malavika. I'll give everyone just maybe a few more seconds, a few more moments to grab any final resources at this point. And as you said, Malavika, we will also share the recordings, slides, and resources all at once in the next few days. Thank you, everyone.